Tiny house parking. We actually made the decision to go tiny before we actually knew where we were going to put it. And that turned out to be a little bit more difficult than we thought.
We kind of were just searching. We've been doing RV parks since when we first got our tiny house. And so it was just perfect timing that we found it right before it opened.
This is an actual, it's not a trailer park.
Yeah.
No, it's an actual tiny home village. So we were pretty excited. And he only allowed, well, the city will only allow tiny homes in there. Like you can't do anything outside of a traditional tiny home on wheels.
And all owner occupied as well.
The kitchen feels so big.
Yeah, it is. It's
You
like
know?
a third of the house. It is. It really is.
How do you get up to your bed?
So actually this ladder we usually just grab from here, and then we got these hooks that hook it onto there, and then up you go.
And most times I'm like, if I'm tired, I'm like, babe, can you put the ladder up? I'm ready to go to bed.
So it's not, you can't sit?
I'm slouched a little bit.
And I'm sitting, but usually in the middle I can sit and be all the way up, but not on the corner where it's like slanted down.
Yeah. So
how big is your bed?
It's a king size. And it took us quite a bit of time to get the bed up here too.
Yeah. Oh.
This is how much room is above his head, if you can see.
People always ask, do I hit my head when I wake up? And the answer is yes.
Do you?
I've definitely hit my head before.
See, this is me sitting down here.
Over the last 5 years, we have gone from being $125,000 in debt to downsizing to a 200 square foot tiny house on wheels, to then paying all of our debt off and becoming 100% debt free, to having a baby and being in a tiny house with a baby.
Yeah.
What's up, YouTube?
And we're gonna show you our home.
To now being in our first traditional home as a family. And today we're gonna try to make sense of our whole story. See ya, make sure you walk away.
I will.
There's no way she's finding me.
Coming in. So we actually met when we were in middle school.
Look at that, y'all. She's not even hooked on.
It don't matter. I'm holding on to this. We started dating, whatever that means, in the 8th grade. And then probably for like a year, and then shortly after we broke up. And then we reconnected in college, started dating for real, and then got engaged and got married.
Got married in 2014 and we are going on 7 years now.
We need to go to the gym.
Wanna go?
Yeah, let's go to the gym.
All right. So basically, we ended up $125,000 in debt. It was comprised of auto loans, credit cards, student loan debt,
Furniture debt.
pretty much any debt you can think of.
Yeah.
And I think we first recognized it as a problem hearing other people's stories and just really kind of waking up and having an aha moment that, wow, like we're living a lifestyle that we can't afford. We're living a lifestyle that's above our means. What do you think?
I thought you said we were going to go to my favorite brunch spot.
I mean, I kind of wanted to bring it to you since it's quarantine and everything.
Maybe this is a pillowcase. I guess it looks good though.
So we made a commitment to sit down, to start working through a monthly budget and to figure out exactly how much we had coming in and where exactly that was all going, and to try to put together a plan to attack the debt. This is everything we've given up. A lot of people have asked, how did we downsize on everything?
I've personally given up 2 bags of clothes and still have clothes to give away.
So the bed's already on the floor. We sold the whole bedroom set.
So at the time that we actually decided to start our debt-free journey, we were living in Jacksonville, Florida, in a downtown loft, 5th floor, a little bit too expensive.
The width of the whole house is going to be 8.5 feet wide.
I kind of was against going tiny initially, and Marek was like, well, I really think like if we're getting serious about this, how can we be cutting down all of our expenses, but we're still spending like $1,200 on a living space that we don't even own? And so thought long and hard, and he was like, tiny house. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then I decided, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I was basically seeing the tiny house as a beneficial path in 3 different ways. So number 1, it gave us ownership.
Slow down some more, babe. Slow down some more.
Number 2, it allowed us to have flexibility.
Lucky, guys. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting.
So as we made job moves and kind of figured out what careers look like for us, it allowed us to be flexible and be able to pick up and go at a moment's notice. And then the third thing that it did was it gave us like a future rental or resale value.
How many houses are there here?
12. Yeah, 12 so far. One more is coming in, and she should be coming in the next couple of weeks.
So did you get to pick your spot? How many people were here when you came?
We're actually the first one.
Yeah. We moved here a few months before it actually got finished, and so as soon as he told us that we were ready, we were like, well, we already planned this weekend, so let's just move. And he's like, well, there's no electricity yet, and we're like, that's cool, we're still coming. And so we just moved in, and then the Wednesday after the weekend we moved in, everything got connected up, and we were good to go. So my biggest thing, which is gonna sound silly, was I really wanted my open, because when we had a downtown loft, we kind of had the spice rack the same, and so I really wanted open shelving spice rack, and I wanted to have enough counter space because I like to cook. So that was my biggest concern, was enough counter space. And as you can see, when we go grocery shopping, it can really get packed. So I wanted to make sure I could still have enough room to cook and chop my veggies and do all that and prep meals before. And we kept pretty close to a standard size stove. I think it's 24.
Yeah, I believe.
Still able to fit a lot of things in the oven as well.
And almost a regular size refrigerator?
Yeah, it's apartment size, which works out perfectly because we have this space to put little things that we have down there. So different drinks and things like that.
And this also hooks on the other side and allows us to go up to the storage loft, and then we can go up in the same fashion. And then we have pretty much all storage over on that side.
So the process of downsizing was actually pretty crazy. Transitioning from our loft to a tiny home. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom loft.
So originally when we designed this was supposed to be Marik's closet and this was supposed to be my closet, but we realized that he couldn't really reach that easily. So we ended up just doing half here, the things that we wear on a daily basis or more frequently. And then...
Oh, this is divided, you're saying?
Yep, this is his side, this is my side.
Okay.
Up here is just not the things that we get as often.
Our loft, we had already furnished the entire place. We had to figure out what we were gonna do with all that stuff. So Marik actually basically took a part-time job in selling all of our furniture.
Oh, I do need my water bottle.
Yeah, and at this time, we're still working through our debt. So this was actually about $10,000 just in property from our prior living situation that we were able to just put directly towards our debt.
Put these away.
To talk a little bit more specifically about how we got out of debt, what we essentially did was sat down and mapped out a plan. And the basic formula for it is to increase our income, reduce our expenses, and throw the difference at debt. So we picked up every job you can possibly think of. At one point, I think there were 6 jobs between the two of us. I was working my full-time job in retail loss prevention, as well as working at warehouses, delivering pizzas, all kinds of stuff, everything you can think of.
I was teaching full-time, I was coaching, I was a lifeguard, I was working as a server. It was a lot.
So I would come home at 3:30 in the morning, and I would just actually stay up, get things I needed to get done around the house until she woke up at 5 a.m. And then we would spend an hour together before she left to start her brand new day.
2018 was our first year ever making over $100,000 in a single given year. Granted, it came from a million jobs, but it was definitely well worth it. So when we first sat down and budgeted out, it was 2017, and it was supposed to take us all the way until 2021, this year. To be debt free. And we actually ended up picking up so much momentum and so much steam. And when that ball got to rolling, it really gets to rolling. And we ended up actually paying everything off 2 years ahead of schedule. And so our debt-free journey went from 2017 to 2019. And that was $125,000 worth of debt, including the tiny house itself.
So the propane here is actually what powers our tankless water heater. Our tankless unit is here.
So that's water's provided.
Yeah,
Right.
water is included. Yep. This is actually our water line here, so all water into the house, and then our electric just plugs into the 50 amp electrical here. We're actually 30 amp, but it's 50 and 30 accessible. This is our main electrical box. So literally plug in for electric, plug in for water, and then obviously there's a sewage line there. To rent the land here is $500 per month, which includes all utilities except electric, and then it also includes a free laundry. So back this way is where the free washateria is.
I mean, it's a nice perk because most people aren't going to have this
Yeah.
in there. But you guys don't.
Well, we do. We have the stacked unit in there.
You don't need it.
We do use it just because it's a little bit quicker. If we wanted to, we could come back and garden, but these are some of like our neighbors' gardens and they grow different things.
Didn't I read that this was a farm?
Yeah, in its history, yeah, it was a farm at one point. We actually had some green onions come up in our front yard one time. So that's how we know it was farmland. The community was approved here. So not even the entire county could necessarily do it. It was a long 3-year process for the developer in order to get it approved, but he got it done. And so now we have a place to call home and a community of people here.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Set it down, please. Ooh. We're making progress, y'all. Hey, honey buns. Oh my goodness, mama. All right.
Even though our plan was originally whenever children came along, we would move out of the tiny house. Oh, you so precious. You're so precious, mama. I actually initially was all about the tiny house and the baby out. It was kind of a challenge for me.
She kind of like it.
Ooh, mama.
The birth of our daughter, Zalea, is actually what pushed us over the edge, and we knew we had to come back home.
Nope. Nah, it's not gonna make it. Trucker's like, hit my house if you want to. Oh my word! There she is. There she is.
And so we actually moved back from Texas back home to Kansas City, Missouri.
And that's it. Oh my gosh. I feel like my life is flashing right now. Our little lot.
And speaking of moving the tiny house from place to place, we actually hired out initially and would have a company do that for us. And then over time, we actually became more familiar with the process and more comfortable with the process to where we actually started moving it ourselves.
Once you get on the open road, it's so smooth.
Smooth
There's
sailing.
no traffic. It's wide open.
We actually moved our tiny house from Dallas, Texas to Kansas City, Missouri on our own. It was an 8-hour trip, and it actually turned out in real time to be about 48 hours for us.
That tire is completely busted. Holy moly. Babe, just stop.
Was it only 2 days? Gosh, I felt so much longer.
Yes, we ran into every problem you can possibly think of.
You literally cannot make this up. You literally cannot make this up.
Blown tires, stranded on the side of the road, and replacing some of them on our own. It was just insane.
I mean, we legitimately, honestly expect the other two to blow out.
Yep.
There it is out there.
But one thing I will say is, living in the tiny house, we knew our house like no other.
Our pipes froze. And now today, Merry Christmas. Our pipes froze.
But not all the pipes. Our water is still working. So we got cold water, but then when you turn it to the hot, it's done.
It looks like the inlet for the water to go into the tankless was frozen. So I already took the insulation off of it. And now I'm just going to take the heat gun and thaw it out. And then I'm going to put some heat tape around it.
So like we knew everything, where the pipes ran, what to do in the wintertime.
Can't get another smile, mama. Initially, I actually was all about the tiny house and the baby. I was like, oh man, like I think we can really do it, babe. Like let's, try to see how long we can last. Even though our plan was just not how we designed that house. It wasn't for children, with children in mind. But I was like, yeah, like let's see how long we can last in there. And then
it ended up being about 3 months.
Yep, I got over it pretty quickly, actually. The whole ladder situation and the baby is just not the best. Yeah, I was ready to be done. I think a lot sooner than he was.
But if you remember, one of the big 3 reasons that it was appealing to me in the first place was for future rental value or resale value. And we actually wanted to park it and rent it out on Airbnb, but we had just about as hard of a time finding a place that we could legally do that as we did finding a place to park it ourselves. And so we actually ended up selling it.
Everything's down, off the walls.
We designed this house from the ground up, from the trailer up.
We did. We did design it.
We added so much stuff to it.
Now it's all gone because of this addition. So this is a good reason.
It is, but it still feels sad. Don't you feel sad?
I feel sad on the one hand, but then at the same time, I do feel glad that we were able to get our full asking price.
Yeah.
It sold in 13 days.
That's
with
crazy.
A test listing.
Wow, that's crazy. It is, but it is the end of an era, and it is the beginning of a new chapter for us.
Yeah.
So
We're not going away from tiny homes. We have plans to be back in the tiny home game. It won't be us personally living tiny anytime in the foreseeable future.
We actually tried something before within Jackson County, which is Kansas City, and we bought a 4-acre piece of land where we plan to develop a tiny house community. The street would be straight ahead that way, and the street runs this way. So we might have to do like a tiered structure to where you come in and you got row of homes on this side that's kind of higher up, and then as the ground slopes down this way, another row that's lower. But we ended up running into some problems with some old documents that basically had restrictive covenants against homes below a certain square footage. And so that plan is now kind of up in the air, and we're still kind of figuring out what we're going to do and how we're going to invest in that property.
2:30, and we are sitting up here looking at houses.
So we actually were going back and forth on whether or not we should be looking for a house right now. That weekend, Marek was like, well, let's just go to some open houses. And the first house we saw, we fell in love with and put in an offer. We lost that one. After that experience, we were like, let's get our ducks in a row. And we got a pre-approval letter in order. And then we went back out and were checking out different houses. And
How's it going?
we were under contract that next Saturday.
Okay, so I wanted to call you. I just talked to the listing agent. They want to accept your offer. I guess there were 2 or 3 other...
It literally took us a week from the day that we decided that we were going to look at houses to the day we were under contract was a week.
Is this your first home?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ish.
Well, traditionally.
Yeah. Ready to have your own room? We're ready for you to have your own room.
Welcome to our new home. We actually just finished closing today. Here we have our living area. This is where the couch is gonna go. We're gonna get a sectional. Here we'll have a table, and we'll get to sit on a table and eat together as a family with our little high chair. It's gonna be our eating space, and I know Marek is gonna be super excited to be able to sit across from me again to eat, because that was one of the things that he missed when we were living tiny.
This way you have the living quarters and sleeping quarters, which somebody's already excited about. It's just been so different. It's like we just have so much space. Some days I feel like, man, this is awesome. Like we can put her down for naps in a separate room and have this and this. I got to be careful and watch my head this time. And then other days I'm like, why do we need all this? So I'm ready.